hindsight's 2020, 2025.
Yep.
We were talking about, there's some of these areas that yields are, 10 to 20 bushels lower compared to last year.
Yep.
Go ahead and repeat the question you asked me when I said that was kind of happening in our environment too.
What was that? Remind me what that question was.
It was, what time did the dew get off the plants?
Oh, yeah, with the transpiration?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we've noticed is in our area especially, we had dews that last till we sap sample. So Monday through Thursday, we're sap sampling till noon, 1 o'clock at the latest. And interns, employees were coming back just soaked, 12:30.
Yep.
And so that plant cannot breathe when you get in conditions like that. And so the big thing is what happens is ethylene wants to tick up. It's a hormone that increases senescence. Well, when that happens, reactive oxygen species go up, and your plant's just under stress. And so a plant being back to the oxygen thing, a plant being able to breathe is a big thing. So
well, and it doesn't show any symptoms of that, at the time.
Right.
It's looking healthy, everything's gung ho. So, what are some things that again, hindsight's 2020, but suppressing that ethylene?
What we're doing is there's lots of ways to do it with different trick mechanisms within hormones. So there's ways to induce sugar starvation pathways, and it's a hormonal functionality, but it's a short-term fix. It's something that buys you 10 days, 2 weeks, from that perspective. But I think the biggest thing you can do is just keep your K values higher.
Okay.
The higher your K values, that directly correlates to sugar movement.
Yep.
And boron's big in there with calcium and boron, but potassium is the big driver of that.
So with that, with your experience with your data set, ratio of potassium to manganese.
Potassium to manganese?
Yeah.
I think what we've found is your manganese has to be super, super low.
Okay.
For potassium not to get in. So if I'm struggling.
Super low, as in that's when.
Like almost non-existent.
Okay.
And so one of the indicators we've found from SAP is when we get good biological activity in our soil, manganese naturally wants to elevate along with silica. So if you've got really good biology, I can usually tell by looking at a sap, it's like, okay, this guy's he's probably got oxygen in his soil. Manganese is elevated, silica is elevated. So, but when I see it all the way down and I need to deliver potassium, we'll spike with 16 ounces of a manganese or something in a Foley wrap with the potassium to drive it.
Well, that's probably been one of my aha moments was doing traditional soil tests. Our manganese is always low.
Yeah.
But I take tissues, and it's great.
Yeah.
And it made I got to the part of, okay, well, the lower the pH, our manganese are always high.
Yeah.
So it just tells you with that testing protocol, it's probably hiding a little bit of what's truly available to that plant.
We think so because it's whether we go back to our historic tissue data set that we've had 4 years on, or the SAP data set that we got 3 years of data on. It's zinc, boron, iron, and copper are the loss leaders.
Yep.
From our data set. So, and that's from Nebraska to Ohio to southern Missouri. It's pretty wide geography. That kind of follows that rule. So.
Now, with those micros that you listed off, which one do you feel would be majority of the time? I would say still get a test, still analyze your field, right?
Yep.
But what's the one that's just like you can almost close your eyes and say that more than likely that's going to be an issue?
Zinc.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Zinc's always really low. And I think in our SAP database, we're talking like 100%, 99 to 100% of samples are deficient in zinc.
Wow.
So it's a big one, but going back to the fundamentals, I think the macros are still, in a lot of cases, an issue. So so I think there's a hierarchy of nutrient order that we need to look at, and macros are still. We want to, we've really preached the micros. They do a lot of things to let the plant communicate and build all these metabolites and let that plant communicate between reproductive, defense, and growth modes.
Yep.
But if we don't have our macros in the right capacity, at what yield, I think in our area, it's a 300 plus before the micros probably really are going to start paying big ROI
Gotcha.
dividends. So think about that as we've deployed more and more programs out and have focused really heavily on the micros. We see some good things, but where we truly drive some big yield responses is where we're rebalancing the macros, MPKS, and getting those in order.
Thank you for making sure S was in there.
Yeah, S is a big one.
Yes, yes. And if for those of you that don't know, S is sulfur.
Yes.
Okay, that needs to be seen as a macro in my eyes too. Now it's not. Is it the same amount as nitrogen? No, but keep that ratio tight, and usually good things happen.
Yeah, so that's probably the other thing. I think sulfur is deficient in 85 to 90% of sap samples, start to finish.
Okay,
and that becomes really sulfur can be in so many forms in the soil. So it can be, gassed off as a sulfide.
Yep.
It can be combined with another cation to be leached and form salts. And so anytime we have a saturation event and we have sulfate sulfur available in our soil and we drive out oxygen down to 30% or less, probably gassing a big chunk of the sulfate off. So, as we've changed management practices with sulfur, we're going back to fall applied elemental because we want the slow drip. We don't want this big fast conversion to sulfate. It's just too volatile. We definitely get the pounds there, but if the environment shifts hard, we either are leaching or are gassing.
That makes so much sense. We got more rain than we usually do in my neck of the woods. And of course, I'm a drone operator.
Yep.
But the nutrient, of course, I'm there identifying which nutrients I can visually see deficient.
Yeah.
Every field I go to.
Yeah.
And the one that always hit me, sulfur.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense how you put that into consideration of gassing off or leaching. I mean, it's about as bad as nitrogen. I mean, it could just get out of there,
I used to say it's 4x more volatile than nitrogen.
Okay.
My stance now is 10x.
10x,
I mean,
okay.
it is a volatile nutrient. It's a reactive metal. It wants to react with all other nutrients. Mm-hmm. It wants to go to a gas. It wants to form salts with other things. So it's a really overlooked nutrient, I think. And it's probably the other big piece of sulfur. So within the power of large ag data sets of looking at lots of saps, that's where the true power of data comes. Can we learn things by pulling some saps on your field?
Yep.
Yeah, we can get some insights, but the true power is with all the air, when you figure out air at the lab, air at the pulling the sample, all the pieces.
Yep.
Large data sets weed all those things out.
Yep.
So sulfur is the gateway for 10 other nutrients. So meaning every time sulfur goes up in the plant, it pulls phos, potassium, nitrogen, but it also lowers nitrate and ammonium in the plant, meaning we helps assimilate that nitrogen and gets it into an amino or protein form where we can actually use that for growth.
Exactly. I mean, that last part. So you can use it. You're spending money, so you're using it within that plant.
Yeah.
Okay. So just so I understood this.
Guys, if you've liked the information that you've seen so far, go ahead and check out the full-length podcast on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe there. It's also on all the major podcast platforms. We're constantly dropping info and more content on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Check it out for a lot more content.